On to our last final stage, because I know it is getting late here for the East Coast guys. Um, just want to talk about founder-led leadership and leadership and company culture. We've all worked at different companies. I just think this is not talked about enough on YouTube or FinTwit. Um, Chris, when before we started recording, you made some great comments about investing in the future and investing in people. And I'd like everyone to kind of go around the room. We'll start with you, Chris, on just why that's so important and how I think here we all believe there's intangibles when you invest in a person and a culture that can almost be sustainable much longer than numbers and things that you can, it's hard to grasp the impact. So Chris, just kind of say what you were talking about earlier.
The way that I would pose this is when you look at a company and you look at the leader that's on top, right? That leader is going to set the vision. Basically, a CEO's job is to set a vision and then figure out how to hire people and put them into the places that they need to be. When you have certain CEOs and certain CEOs, you would think that some of the stuff that they do is just pure luck. I can tell you right now, that there's no such thing as pure luck. I'll give you an example of someone that I recently started reading about, Eric Yuan from Zoom. A lot of people just say, well, you know what, he's the CEO of Zoom. But guess what? When you look back at his history, he was also one of the people that helped develop WebEx that then Cisco ended up buying, right? So then when he was at Cisco, he saw that, you know what? Cisco was not living up to the vision he had for the product that he originally wanted the consumer to have, right? That made consumers happy. And that was WebEx. If Cisco's culture was good, he would have stayed there. But he saw that there were a lot of deficiencies in the culture. So guess what he did? Moved in. He moved out to found another company, and that was Zoom. He took some of the other talent who also recognized that Cisco was not doing enough to develop the product. And so when he moved out, it's like, no, I'm going to build the thing that I have that vision for. And you can see a lot of companies that are founder led. Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs had a vision. He wanted to keep that vision. Once he got pushed out of it, that vision just went all over the place. So that's the thing that I think a lot of times I want to see. When I see a CEO at the helm whose personal vision gets kind of like put into action, I think that that company has a large amount of growth to go. I think companies that you see CEOs constantly changing, the turnaround CEOs, it's hard to turn things around. I think it's better off that you find someone, especially a founder-led company, that there is a clear person at the top who's got a vision or has people under him that can eventually take up that spot. And just like how Tim Cook did with Steve Jobs. So I think right now, when I look at a company, one of the first things I do before reading their balance sheet, before reading their 10 Qs, what their business model is, all that stuff, first thing I say, okay, what kind of leader do they have? Is it a leader that people want to follow? Is it a leader that understands the importance of the technology or the product that they're trying to push out into the world? Someone who's got personal stake in this outside of just the monetary gain. Because at the end of the day, your reputation's there, right? At the end of the day, if Apple ended up being a BS company, Steve Jobs, no one would know who Steve Jobs was. He was just another CEO, right? So that right there gives me confidence. So when I see a company that's founder led, I'm all about it. I'm like, yeah, that's like one of the things that is on my checklist. If it's founder led, it's getting some points because of that.
So Shabari, I think all great points there, Chris. I think we all agree with that and encourage people to look for those kind of leaders. On kind of the flip side there, talking about the holistic team, you made some comments earlier about I only really started investing in companies that I wanted to work for. Um, how do you look for those company cultures and what you would say I want to work for, and this is why I want to invest, or I feel that their employees are happy? How do you do that?
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. Good question. I think, well, so all the stuff that Chris is talking about totally resonates. It's, the founder-led stuff, that's all there. Um, To answer your question directly, Dom, there's literally one easy way to see if, and especially for if you're looking for a software or SaaS company, engineering is like the foundry of like the entire SaaS company, right? It's like the fab, no pun intended, of course, but it's like the fab of like of that entire company moving forward. So I'm going to be a little bit of a contrarian here. Most of the time, like 90% of the time, engineers could give a crap about leadership. Honestly, like no matter how visionary you are, we generally don't care. Just because you get so deep into the work, especially if you're quite passionate, you get deep into the work and stuff. But at the same time, you can tell because engineering culture is kind of a weird, quirky thing. Everyone has their different ways of going about it, but at the end of the day, the really good ones, like the people that really want to get things done, they want to reach a level of efficiency that is, to be honest, not really achievable. But there's a certain ambition, there's a certain push, and really, like sometimes there is no 9 to 5 half the time when you do stuff like that, right? You can go like for example, like I literally just burnt the midnight oil last night, right? It you get pretty passionate about it. So what happens is when you find a leadership that encourages that, but not in a way that's like, yeah, man, work another 14-hour shift, it's more so like, oh, you work that, why don't you have a day in lieu, or why don't you like, because a lot of startups, I mean, try to emulate this, right? They're like, oh, we have free lunches and ping pong tables and stuff, right? That's all great, but what is that really doing from a ambition perspective, right? That's at this point, I'm calling it a break. I'm not calling it something that makes me want to stay. But Palantir, Tesla, all these companies, right? They pride themselves on hard work. They might also have ping pong tables and free lunches and stuff, right? But that's not there as a thing to basically pull people in. It's more there as a, hey, I know you're working hard. Here you go, man. Free lunches. Why don't you go have a break at a ping pong table? Why don't you get free tea from the tea bot or whatever? You know what I mean? It's not there as an incentive. It's more there as a support system, and that kind of way of going about it is very clear. I'll give you a quick way to look at it. Every company pushes out these culture videos, right? And I did all the stuff we talked about. I did like reviews on it on my channel if you guys want to see it. But the easiest way to look at any culture video is look at it, look at the engineers that talk about it. If they talk about culture, most of the time it's probably bad. If they talk about the work and what they're doing, it's probably someplace you want to be at. Because the thing is, we don't care that much about culture as people think we do, right? I know it's been this whole startup thing and there's shows around it and stuff where everyone's just like playing ping pong. We're actually mostly at our desk. Like half the tables and free lunches don't get eaten. Okay, I'm just being straight up, right? So like in a culture like that, when you're asked to sit in front of a camera, which most engineers don't like, we're a very sort of introverted group of people, right? So when you're asked to sit in front of a camera, why would you do that and talk about like something that you really care? Like if you talk about something you're actually doing and you're ambitious about, usually it's a fantastic sign that the company is doing the right thing. Um, there's like a lot of videos where you can look at it and they're all like, yeah, it's great, the culture is great, we did archery tag, we did axe throwing. Like, who gives a crap? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what does that say about anything? So that's my
No,
indicator.
I love the honesty. I love the perspective because I work with engineers in different
Yeah,
different departments, and a lot of what you speak is true.
man,
Um,
it's
Jake, kind of just bring us home on this whole idea of company culture and people. When we invest in a company, we're investing in people, right? We're investing more in something that we believe finite can go further and grow, and that's why we're giving our hard-earned dollars for them. So just kind of just tell us how your thoughts on company culture and leadership.
Yeah, I think first and foremost is the mission that the leadership puts forward. Um, uh, Chris, you're in the army, so you might be able to um, identify with from commander to commander. If if they came in and they said, I want to do X, Y, and Z, I want to improve in this area, and I think we can do it, and it's a worthy endeavor, and motivates people to come in,
Yeah.
you will put in the extra hours.
Yeah.
And the opposite is true of a bad commander. I
Yeah.
think the same is true in business. If you have a charismatic leader who is all in on their product, their company, and their mission, and they can communicate that, um, uh, Shabar, like you said, like it's all these nice to haves that are secondary. It's that, like, in the military, it's like, oh, that's like the mandatory fun that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I want to go get the job done. And so when I see a company that has a leader that's communicating that vision, um, and motivating the troops, it's like, oh, that's a diamond in the rough. I want to invest in that company and that leader. And I think, uh, something I've said before is kind of like, value investors invest in companies based on their past performance, um, because they expect future returns, and growth investors invest in leaders based on their past performance and their ability to give future returns. So I mean, that's first and foremost what I look at: the mission and the person giving that mission.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I've dealt with commanders who come in, they're so gung ho. They're like, we're going to be PT studs. We're going to do the craziest amount of PT to get to a point where our numbers are so high, and we all know, like, dude, you're doing it because you want to look good, right? And you want us to do it, not the, hey, listen, guys, let's get together as a team. Let's figure out what we're going to do. The commanders all give you stupid reasons why things are supposed to be done without understanding that, hey, it's not as easy as you think. So I think a lot of times the NCOs, I had great NCO colleagues that were NCOs that I worked with that were the backbone of things, and they did not, a good leader, especially a good officer that knew his NCOs, gave them the autonomy to do the job, believed in them, but gave them that clear mission to say, hey, listen, this is what we're going to do. You guys are going to implement this, right? But I'm going to leave some of that autonomy to you. When you have like a micromanaging captain come in, of a company and just dictate what's going to happen, like based on results that he wants, anyone that starts off with I want results is never going to get results, or at least the results that you're going to get are so artificial that literally it'll last for maybe like 60 days. The greatest leaders that I've ever had, they came in, they said, look, this is what I'm here for. I'm here to take care of you guys. I'm here to do a mission that I was appointed for. We're going to get to a position where we're all comfortable, we're all happy. If you guys need anything from me, talk to your NCO. Your NCO will talk to me, and we'll get it done. We'll get you guys squared away. We're not the best. The best officers that I've ever worked with are ones that are formerly NCOs. Those are the best ones that I've ever had. I don't know about your experience with that.
Yeah, prior enlisted. That's definitely the best.
Yeah.
They've been down there and done what you're doing. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So in the
Yep.
corporate world, I would say the same similar fashion is there are leaders and then there are managers.
Yeah.
A leader, you will run through a brick wall through. You will work that 14-hour shift through. You will cover for them if something goes wrong with the team.
Mhm.
And you'll do it gladfully and it won't feel like extra work. Managers, you're only going to get a finite amount of time from me, and I'm already looking for my next thing, right? I led a sales team for 4 years, learned through the hard knocks in the first year, ran it like an individual contributor, not realizing that everyone's different, right? Everyone in a team, you're not going to have all type A's. Let's go be the top sales team. You're going to have your B contributors and you want to give them to B plus. You're going to have your C and you're just trying to keep them there and get them motivated, get promoted. Then you have everyone else. You're just like, okay, who hired this person? And you have to get the most out of them. And that takes being a motivator and as you said, Chris, giving them the autonomy to own the result. And I think we can all agree when we saw the Palantir culture videos and then we watch videos from Tesla. Nvidia has put out some excellent videos on that. Those are the companies also you want to work for because that's a culture you believe in. Like, hey, that they're making it to where people want to stay there. And then you can go back and look at Glassdoor. You can look at other things to see the company, ratings and culture and how they stack in Forbes. And all of those things can help you if you do the homework to understand they have the people, they have the vision. Now we got to go check all the other boxes. But for, I think all of us, we look at that first because if I wouldn't go work for the guy, then why do I want to invest and give him my hard earned money? Right. Like we know how hard it is to make a dollar out here. And so we're trying to invest for our families to better. That's the outcome we're looking for investing in the stock market is there's no other place that you can put a dollar and see it grow as fast as it can be and beat professionals at this game just because we're willing to be patient and wait longer and not operate on quarters, as Chris, you said earlier. Well, this has all been great. I want to make sure you guys are able to plug any channels, Twitter feeds. So we'll just go round table. Chris, if you want to plug your Twitter and any YouTube channels or anything else you got going.
Yeah, for now I'm just doing a Twitter thing. Eventually I'm gonna start to do a quick. I'm thinking of just doing podcasts with other YouTubers interested in the same space. I, I was telling you guys I'd like to put a camera in front of my face and tell you what's going on, but I don't think that that's something that I like. I actually like having one-on-one and like this group conversation. So maybe that's something that I'll do in the future. But for now, if you guys want to just check out some of the research that I do, just follow me on Twitter. And that's Chris Patel 99 on Twitter.
Awesome. Awesome. Shabari?
Oh, it's same thing. My Twitter is more like both my Twitter and my YouTube is really just an extension of my personality. So YouTube is just CyberFam. Twitter is at OG CyberFam. But yeah, feel free to follow me. More importantly, I would just recommend everyone just do their own research, do your own homework as best as possible, and then feel free to check out my content if you feel like it helps, and any of our contents. But do your research first.
Jake?
Yeah, I'm on Twitter and YouTube. Jake Yuri. Yuri's Yurri. But yeah, been kind of inactive lately, but I'll start ramping up more when I get settled into the new house. So yeah.
And I'll definitely say, you guys, if you want to do your own homework, you want to research and understand stocks, follow these three gents on Twitter and their YouTube channels. They do excellent work on research. They're passionate about this. Hopefully through this video, you've seen how much we like to talk stocks. We could just talk for hours on it, and we'll do this again for sure. But please do check out their channels. It helps them further and deliver more content for you guys. And really, we do this because we enjoy it and we want to help others. We're not saying we're gurus or financial experts, but there's some fundamental truths in the stock market we've all witnessed, and we've seen great returns from others and what we've seen so far for ourselves. And so we encourage you guys, if you want to better your financial situation, obviously get your personal financial piece, in check, but the stock market you can win in, and you can dominate your investments. And I would start with doing your own homework, but really appreciate the time, guys. This was fun. I want to do this again, and thank you for all the viewers who have supported the channel and podcasts, and we'll do it again soon.